Next question. The member for Ottawa South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question's for the Premier. Mr. Speaker, this morning I spent time with my friend Bernie Farber, who's here with colleagues. They're here, they're concerned, they're calling on the Premier to disassociate himself with Faith Goldy, a known white supremacist. I know that Mr. Speaker, I know the Premier sent out a tweet last night denouncing hate speech, even if coming from Faith Goldy.
Yes or no?
Mr. Speaker, that is not enough. It's not enough for those people who are truly and frightened by seeing their Premier standing shoulder to shoulder with a white supremacist. Mr. Speaker, the Premier needs to say those words here. And I'm calling on the Premier today to be a true leader, to say those words here in the People's House, to say, I denounce Faith Goldy and what she stands for. I do not stand shoulder to shoulder with her, and I do not support her campaign. And I apologize to those people who are frightened and deeply hurt. Thank you, Speaker.
Listening. Premier.
Through you, Mr. Speaker, and to the member of Etobicoke South, Ottawa South. Sorry to insult the people in Etobicoke. Ottawa South. Through you, Mr. Speaker, I would.
It's not helpful, Premier. Yeah. Complete your answer, please.
So, maybe the member from Ottawa South should talk to his friend from Ottawa Centre over there. Ottawa Centre that passionately supports the radical BDS movement against Israel. Maybe you should be talking to your friend in the far corner over there.
Please make your comments through the chair and depersonalize them.
Through you, Mr. Speaker, maybe the Leader of the Opposition should denounce one of her candidates in Scarborough Agent Court. Taslim Riaz shared an inspirational quote from Adolf Hitler on her Facebook.
The Premier will take a seat. Supplementary.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the people for his response. And
order.
Speak.
Order. 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 I recognize the member for his supplementary.
Over here, not over there. So, Mr. Speaker, that's not the response that I expected. That's not what a true leader does. My father taught me that when you've done something wrong, when you've hurt someone, when you've made a mistake, that you need to apologize. And when you make that apology, you need to do it in front of the people that you've hurt. 2 days ago, another leader in this legislature, the Minister of Municipal Affairs, said those words. He said those words out in the hall, and I know if I asked him today, he'd say those words right here. So, Speaker, through you to the Premier, again, I call on the Premier to denounce Faith Goldy, to denounce what she stands for, to renounce her campaign, and to apologize to those people who are hurt and deeply concerned. Thank you.
Premier.
Through you, Mr. Speaker, I would like the Leader of the Opposition to denounce one of her candidates. Taslim Riaz shared an inspirational quote from Adolf Hitler. From Adolf Hitler, the Leader of the Opposition stood side by side, campaigned with this candidate, took pictures with this candidate. I'd like the Leader to denounce the member from Scarborough. I'd also like the Leader of the Opposition to denounce the Ottawa Centre candidate.
Yeah. Sorry. I think all members know that you're not allowed to hold up props and signs. I would ask members on both sides of the House to stop putting up signs. Premier, if you would briefly conclude your comments. Let's wrap it up.
The member from Ottawa Centre sitting in the corner again supports the radical BDS. You can
yes, the Premier's comments. come to order. The Premier will come to order. The Premier will come to order. Order. Clock's ticking. Order. The next question. Let's move on. Member for Peterborough Kawartha.